that this would be a good fit for me. Deep down, I knew that it would be a warm and welcoming place for me to land, but I never imagined how incredible the community would wrap their arms around me. And I step into big shoes, and I am thrilled to be here and really excited about the work that's ahead, and working in collaboration with the staff and the board and the team here, all our volunteers, and all of you in community.
Creating vibrant community by helping LGBTQ people along their way. That is the mission statement of the LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert here in the Coachella Valley, specifically located in Palm Springs, but with a new office in Coachella. How cool is that? Now, wherever you may be tuning in the entire world, I encourage you to watch this episode because I believe the center really communicates what's possible in a community when hearts, minds, and souls all come together. This is a really big week for the LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert, kicking off with their Center Stage Gala this Friday, which is sold out. And by the way, by this Friday, this is going out live right now on Wednesday, October 20th, 2021. The sold out gala Center Stage happens Friday, but you are in luck because actually, let me tell you a little bit more about the Center Stage Gala that's sold out. According to sources at the center, they say the gala is celebrating 20 years of the center and honoring our incredible team of volunteers which help LGBTQ people along their way each and every day. The center is also thrilled to announce the center's 2021 Legacy Award will be given to Mayor Pro Tem of Palm Springs and center board member Lisa Middleton. She's an amazing person. I'm honored to know her. She's a longtime champion of the center and works tirelessly to advance the cause of our diverse LGBTQ community across the Coachella Valley. If you're watching this broadcast before Sunday, October 24th at 11 a.m. and you are local, the good news is that is when the grand ribbon cutting ceremony is happening. The center, once again, I'm quoting the center will celebrate new beginnings with a grand ribbon cutting ceremony at our newly renovated building in Palm Springs. When we first made plans to renovate the building and expand the Scott Hines Behavioral Health Clinic, the world looked very different. The pandemic altered not only how we commune with one another, but also our construction schedule. It feels really good to be at a point where we can begin to welcome our wonderful community back into a space that is bright, open, and updated. And honestly, our building is more than just a space. It is our community, and we can't wait to welcome you back. So if you're local and you want to go to that, if you go to PromoHomo.TV and you find this broadcast, in the text associated with the broadcast is a link to RSVP, and I've also pasted it into the comments on the social media platform in which you are viewing. It should show up, at least it does on Facebook and YouTube. So I'm really, really excited about that. In this episode, by the way, I have a two-part tour of the new expanded and renovated center, and I have a two-part sit-down, up-close and personal interview with the CEO and executive director of the center, Rob Wheeler. That's what's coming up for you today in the broadcast. In the meantime, for the support of my show, I want to thank DAP Health. I've been a client of DAP for 10 years now. One of their value statements, we welcome all people, period. Also want to give a shout out to my friends at 849 Restaurant and Lounge in trendy North Palm Springs for their ongoing support of the show. I'm a proud media sponsor of the center. I usually would say more about them right now, but the whole episode is about them. PromoHomo.TV is distributed across the Twitterverse in collaboration with the hashtag I Love Gay campaign, and our local media partners are KGay1065 Palm Springs, I Love Gay Palm Springs, the podcast, and Gay Desert Guide, giving a shout out to them. For his support in advancing PR awareness of PromoHomo.TV, I want to give a shout out to David Perry and Associates, and this is very exciting to me. I hope it's exciting to you. So PromoHomo.TV, for the 5th year in a row, is the official broadcaster of the Palm Springs Pride Parade. This year, I'll be making history with a really fabulous team of people. We're doing a multi-camera simulstream, it's sometimes steamy at Pride, simulstream across multiple social media platforms. The parade officially steps off local time at 10 a.m., but our pre-parade coverage launches at 9, so set a reminder on whatever social media platform you're watching so you don't miss it. If you're watching on Facebook, below your screen, I think to the right, is a bell. Ring that bell, click that bell, and then you'll be reminded of future broadcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, in the bottom right-hand corner is a subscribe button, so take advantage of that. And PromoHomo.TV has merch. My team will be wearing the official t-shirt at Pride, but you can wear one too. Get it at Amazon. If you send a photo of yourself wearing the merch with your permission, I'll put it in the show. I also want to let you know that if you interact with the show right now while watching live or throughout this broadcast, your question or comment may be featured on screen. I would love to feature the comments. So even though some of my content today is pre-recorded, I'm running the live studio. I can put your comments on screen throughout the production. I don't do this show by myself. I have help, and here's a little bit more about that.
Live your life like a dreamer. Fly all over the world. Open yourself so the world can see you're a beautiful pearl. Live your day, let the world run dry, and you never even have to try. It's no wonder why I just can't get enough of
So in September of 2021, I was taken on a private tour of the center where much of the work had been accomplished, and I also had a sit-down, exclusive one-on-one, up-close and personal interview with the new executive director, CEO Rob Wheeler, who's really not that new now, but because of the pandemic, many people are meeting him for the first time at the upcoming events that I've told you about. But I'm not going to keep you waiting any longer. Here is a tour of the LGBTQ Community Center of the Desert in Palm Springs, California. Remember, interact during the show. I can put your comments on screen just like that, even during the tour.
Good morning, Rob.
Welcome to the center. So happy to have you.
Thank you, and so happy to have you here in the desert.
I'm thrilled to be here. Amazing. I'm feeling very solar powered. It is the place for me.
Well, good. So let's walk through and tour the facility, and then we'll have some quality conversation about you.
Fantastic.
Okay.
I'm so excited. Yeah, come with me. So you can see painting, stucco, new metalwork, a lot happening. The building's looking bright and really fantastic and very ready to open. So.
And the grand opening, the soft opening, when do people start actually coming here again?
We're looking at the beginning of November, grand opening in late October. We're timing it in collaboration with the construction work, but also around COVID and the appropriate pandemic protocols to make sure that everyone is safe when we start coming back to the space.
And speaking of which, we're vaccinated, but we're wearing our masks in honor of the more conservative protocols and precautions taking place in California, which I, for one, very much appreciate.
Yeah, that's right. We want to make sure that everyone here, our staff, are starting to come back to the site on a part-time basis, full-time for a couple of folks, and so we are masking when we're with folks from outside of our staff community and making sure that everyone stays safe. So now we have taken on the entire building. So we have the full use of the space, are primarily locating on the second and the third floors. The second floor is our behavioral health clinic, which we'll walk through and you'll see is a fantastic space that provides rooms for individual, group, and family counseling, and is HIPAA compliant and provides some level of confidentiality and just to sort of separate it from the rest of the center space.
Fantastic. I did have the honor of knowing Scott Hines, for whom the facility is named. A lovely waiting area. How many patient rooms, client rooms are there?
Altogether, there are, I believe, 8.
Okay.
We'll walk through. You'll see the different ones. It's a mix of staff offices, individual rooms, group and family counseling. This is in honor of Scott and.
Yeah, he was an amazing person and such a great legacy for the people that loved him to have created this.
Yeah. To hold on to that memory and also to inspire others towards healing and recovery and moving into their very best selves, right? And so the gift of Scott and Jeff for this space is incredibly meaningful to all of us, and it touches every person who comes through our doors.
Certainly.
So this is our, opening reception area and lobby for folks to wait. We'll have a full-time staff person who is here to greet folks and help them along as they move into meeting with their counselor. The space sort of wraps around the
I love this
part
art.
of the building. Yeah, you'll see we have just kind of begun the wall decor and art process. It's really exciting, a lot of debate.
People are going to want to steal that.
Yeah, so we'll keep our eyes on it. You'll see that there are a number of supporters who contributed to making this all possible, and so you'll see that recognition throughout the space. These are a couple of our individual counseling and therapy rooms. There's 4, so we'll count and see how close I am when I threw out 8. So there's 4. Okay. There's 5. So very similar. We have a staff kitchen and break area for people to do a little self-care and get some nosh. This was supported by the women of the center's board to make that happen. So number 6 is our family. This is a really special room that we are excited about. It provides the opportunity for us to meet in an intimate setting, but spacious enough to accommodate families, small groups, and really help engage in conversation, healing, connection, in something that feels, warm and inviting.
It's beautiful, and for the viewers, you're still in the process of finishing construction and decorating, and
We are.
We're not seeing the finished product, but we can certainly get a very strong idea of what's happened here in terms of the transformation.
This is an office space for the director of our program, Jill Hingston,
Fantastic.
which also will be available for therapy and counseling sessions. A couple more, the therapy rooms, which wraps around to the rear exit out to the back landing, which we can check out. This is where construction is actually still finishing up. Looks like, actually they've made a lot of progress. Yeah, so easy for folks to step out of the space, come around. I show you over here, we have direct access to the front, restrooms, which have the former markers on them, so these will be all gender facilities, and we'll make that change before we open. There you go.
Fantastic. Now, what became of the giant room that you had down here?
So this room is still here. Right now it's being used as a construction and staging
Okay.
area. So
All right.
the folks who are working on the building have landed themselves there. When the construction is over, it will become a large meeting room that is open to the public.
Okay.
There are several of the rooms that folks may remember that we used in the prior iterations of the building. 101 down around. There's another large group room upstairs. Those will all be available for public use.
Okay. Now, you're reopening. Are the groups that used to meet here all the time contacting you again to relaunch their real world meetings?
We are hearing from folks. I think right now everyone is just incredibly patient,
Right.
and thinking a lot about safety.
Never
and
get
COVID
tired of this
protocols.
view, by
Never
the
get
way.
tired of the views. I mean, what LGBTQ center has that view? Just breathtaking.
Exactly.
And affirming of the vibrancy of our lives here in the desert. So like to come to this space and to be on the third floor, which is a little rare in the Palm Springs area, right? And to look out at that is really incredible and special.
I had the opportunity to know Randy Lowe as well. Yes.
Yeah, Randy is really the foundation of where we are today. Had a vision for what the queer community in the Valley, deserved, and the kind of space where we can really celebrate and thrive, heal, support one another, and I'm really proud to see that vision continue to come to be.
Oh, certainly.
So we'll go into the main lobby.
And this will be the room that most people are familiar with.
This would be where folks would come in, connect with our volunteers and reception staff.
Oh, it's PromoHomo.TV.
Of course.
I gotta get you my new logo.
Yeah. Oh, is that an old logo?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, I'm there. And of course, you're perpetually advertising the Red Dress event, which is a huge event.
We are a huge event, very popular. That was dominated most of my conversations when people learned that I have been appointed in this position. Can you get me a red dress red ticket? And actually, they change regularly the costumes. So this is a new setup for the couple of weeks here. And then we'll see a shift.
Okay.
All right, so let's walk around. So we have some fantastic group rooms.
I've been
Folks
in
to
these
meet
group
in.
rooms.
So as you can see, there's a lot going on in the center, and I actually have part 2 coming up. If you're watching live, though, I want you to know if you ask a question or post a comment during the broadcast, I can feature you like this and like this. So we're live right now on Wednesday, October 20th, and if you're seeing this before the 24th, you can RSVP for the ribbon cutting. You can find the link from this broadcast at PromoHomo.TV, or I posted it in the Facebook feed and in the YouTube feed as well. It's not a short link that I can give you, but you definitely want to RSVP if you're going Sunday at 11 a.m. So now let's check out part 2 of the tour.
So let's walk around. So there's some fantastic group rooms.
I've been in these group rooms.
Part of our return to the space is to continue to offer hybrid programming so that we can connect those who are continuing to visit us virtually. We've had folks from really across the valley, but in some cases across the country, who have a connection to California, to the desert, and want to be a part of the work and the programming that we're doing here. So we're seeing those folks virtually, and we want to continue to do that. So we've set up different capacities in different rooms. So this is a room that will have linkages to Zoom, and then we have a couple of specific Zoom rooms that are set up for broad conferencing. We'll show you.
It's very wonderful for those people that want or need to access things virtually. I, for one, am going to go out of my way to have real-world interaction with human beings.
And I think with the unpredictability of the pandemic and the sort of 2 steps forward, 1 step back cycle that we're in, we just want to make sure that we remain as accessible and open to as many folks as we can, whether they're here in the desert, in the valley, or they're elsewhere. But we know that a lot of folks in our community are really excited to be together again, and we want to provide that opportunity. So our initial plan will be to open with some level of reduced capacity to ensure that there is social distancing and safety, and so we'll work with our user groups and the folks who meet here to ensure that there is access to the space, but it is also safe and we have strong protocols in place. Yeah.
Well stated.
And you asked if we had been hearing from folks who used to meet here, and we absolutely have. People are really excited to come back, and they're anxious to hear, like, how will that happen, and what spaces will be available. And so we're having those conversations and starting to sort that out. You know, all the back end furniture inventory and all that fun stuff. So as we had prior, we have several large rooms on this floor. This is a room that is just about done in terms of the setup for the Zoom capacity. It's one of the larger rooms so that folks can have meetings here that are both in person, and then we're connecting with those who are afar.
Fantastic.
The view, still there, bright, like, you know, I think when folks come here, we really want them to feel the warmth and connectedness of community, but also the brightness of, like, our queer lives. And so we see that outside the windows, and we bring it here into the room with the folks who are here. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I, for one, am really excited for people to be back in the space.
I'm sure you are.
I haven't experienced the center yet, you know, with our community here with us.
Right.
And so that is a really exciting thing for me.
Right.
This is our David Bonnet Cyber Center. We haven't quite finished filling it out with computers. These were installed in early 2020. And sadly have not had the opportunity for folks to use them. And so we're looking forward to opening this back up.
You probably know this, but David Bonnet created GeoCities, which was sold to Yahoo for, I think, $400 million.
Yes. Amazing. And the Bonnet Foundation, for folks who don't know, fund and support computer access and technology access for LGBTQ folks across the country in many of our centers, in us included, which is really fantastic.
Hey, Charles, wave at the camera. Hi, Charles.
There's Charles Huff, our volunteer coordinator.
Nice to see you.
Now this office has been the decor is solid.
Well, so how has the pandemic been for you, Charles?
It has been interesting and challenging. Of course, with volunteers, we kept going with our food bank. So constantly we were monitoring people's mask and status and all of that. So that part of it has been quite interesting. And then keeping the volunteers a little engaged when they're not here has been a bit of a challenge. So, but everybody's starting to gear up and be ready to come out into the world and make things happen again.
Well, thank you for keeping the lights on, as they say, with all of your hard work at the food bank and everything else. It's great to see you.
Good to see you. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Who knew that Charles was just instant on-camera performance?
I did.
Like a superpower.
I did.
He just transformed immediately, and then it was all about the camera and the performance. Wow. Thanks, Charles.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you.
You can say hi to Guy, who also has a completely
Wow,
decked out office.
you and I both transformed ourselves during the pandemic.
60 pounds later.
65 for me.
There you go.
We-
Congratulations. So we'll do all the programs from here and coordinate the food bank operations from here.
Well, and what a great job you do. So thank you, and great to see you, and congrats on the
I
transformation.
appreciate it, and thanks for your support.
You're welcome.
Beautiful office, Guy.
Thank you.
Thanks for sharing it. This is a little staff area, right, where there are office supplies and copying, very fancy and tidy, thanks to Carrie, our Director of Operations. And who doesn't love a rainbow hand truck? I mean, it wouldn't be the center if there wasn't a rainbow on the hand
Exactly.
truck,
Well,
right?
you are talking to the PromoHomo, so I can.
Right.
Oh, by the way, come here. I don't know if you know, whoever knows that.
Oh, no, actually.
Yeah. So
So even our copier,
yes, rainbows everywhere.
it's we are inclusive of copy machines.
Yes.
So is everybody else. Let me show you around the office a little bit. We have a couple of all-gender restrooms here for the public and our staff. Is this an area that you've been in before?
I have. It's changed quite a bit.
It's changed. We did a little updating on it. There's Barry, our
Hi, Barry.
digital communications manager.
How are you?
Fantastic. How are you?
Oh,
Gotta get ready.
I'm being filmed. I didn't realize.
Yes. No, you don't have to hold. I just want to hear you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. It's so nice to see you.
Yeah, thank you so much for paying us a visit and
Oh,
seeing our new space.
My pleasure.
Very good. This is Dan.
Hi,
our-
Dan. Say hello to Palm Springs.
Hi, Palm Springs. I'm happy to be here.
Well, we're happy you're here.
This is
Nice to
Dan's
see you.
third week, and
Yes,
we couldn't
yes,
do it
I'm
without.
here.
Is it third or fourth? Third, yeah.
Third,
We couldn't
yeah.
do it without him. He's already indispensable.
Well, fantastic. Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And you know Carrie, our Director of
Carrie.
Operations.
Good. How are you?
Great.
Thank you.
Good. Doing well. Very well.
Nice to see you. Thanks for all you do.
Oh, I love it. It's great.
The place is amazing. Looks fantastic.
Carrie's running the show around here.
Okay,
I don't know about that.
Couldn't do it without him. Yep, my little office space, very nice. I have a fancy sign, which I'm very proud of. Yeah, I need some decor. I don't measure up to Charles and Guy.
You've just
I
announced
just
to the
arrived.
Queens of Palm Springs that you want design tips. Your phone's going to start ringing.
Yeah, please,
on me.
send me an email.
Yes.
Send me mock-ups and ideas.
Yes.
I would love it. Staff kitchen, actually very active space. We spend a lot of time in here. And there's way too many cookies and candy. But this is
Yes.
where we get, this is where we get fueled up for the work that we're doing. Lexotega, also pretty nicely decked out office.
Hey. Congratulations on all the accomplishments that this team has done collectively to just create this vibrant community.
Thanks, Nicholas. Well, and we're so thankful to, all community members who have had relationships with us, right? Volunteers, board members, donors, folks like yourself, right? That just give so generously of their time and heart and spirit.
Well, we're all in this together.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to see your face. We'll have to have you come out to check out the Coachella space soon.
Yes.
I would love that, and I would like to interview some of the people you're serving out there as well.
Yeah. We can make that happen. Absolutely.
Fantastic.
I think that's everyone who's here right now.
Okay.
Folks are busy doing their thing.
Doesn't it warm your heart that we have such a resource in the Coachella Valley? I, for one, am just so thrilled. Just a reminder that this broadcast is happening on October 20th, 2021. The center's ribbon cutting is at 11 a.m. this coming Sunday, the 24th. But the tour and the interview that you're about to see were filmed in September, leading up to the season launch of PromoHomo.TV. So I just want to put the timing in context. For example, the staff member that was there for a few weeks has now been there for, a couple of months or more. One of the interesting things about the pandemic is that the beloved former executive director of the center, Mike Thompson, moved, and we love him and we wish him well. And then Rob Wheeler showed up, but couldn't have the opportunities to connect with community because of where the pandemic was at the time. So literally, many people will be meeting Rob for the first time at Center Stage, which is sold out, and at the grand opening ribbon cutting celebrations. And not everyone will go to those. So that is why it was important to me to do a sit-down, exclusive, one-on-one interview for you to get to know Rob better, and that's what I have for you right now.
Promise, and one-on-one with Rob Wheeler, the new CEO and Executive Director, who comes to us by way of the Big Apple, where he spent 22 years working his way up at the LGBTQ Center of New York.
Indeed. Yeah, thank you for having me and coming and visiting the whole tour. It's fantastic.
Well, thank you for, I feel like I used my media card to get in here because I wanted to show this off for all of you leading up to some really important events. But before we get into that, one of the things that's interesting is I know that the first time my audience will see this, it will be during the live broadcast from the first Center Social that's happened since the pandemic began.
Yeah.
And that in itself is so historic that because of science, because of compliance, because we live in a safe and sane community, we get to gather. By the way, we're both vaccinated and we're alone in a room, and we have toured the facility wearing masks, but we're now doing this without masks, knowing all the protocols. So how are you personally feeling that the opportunity is showing up for you to be able to really connect more personally with the community that you now serve?
I am loving it. I am cautiously optimistic that we are headed in the right direction on the circumstances around COVID here in Palm Springs and in the Coachella Valley, that we will be able to begin to connect individually and in small groups in safe and supportive ways, and that we'll be able to have large events where folks can gather with vaccination protocols and masking where appropriate, and focusing most of our activities outdoors, so that as many people that feel comfortable participating in that way are able to.
I don't need to tell you that centers like this are lifesavers, and they have been serving our communities for decades at a time when we didn't know we had communities, plural. We were one sort of big monolith, and now we're becoming to understand intersectionality and all sorts of levels of diversity. But do you recall when you first stepped into a center for the first time or contacted one?
Yeah, so my first experience with the center was in New York, the center that I worked for 22 years. I had just moved to New York. I was looking for a place to connect and meet other people. Someone actually at a bar told me about the center on West 13th Street. And so I was one of those people who approached the center with hesitation, sort of walked around the block a couple of times, and then eventually went in, got some newspapers. This was back in, I'm not gonna date myself, but back when there was a lot of weekly newspapers, and that was one of the ways that folks connected. And so I gathered up all of the periodicals that I could and then left, and just coincidentally, maybe 2 or 3 weeks later, I was placed at the center through a temp agency to work as an evening receptionist. And I didn't realize at first that it was the place that I had been until I actually, got there and realized, oh, this is could not be better. And I never left 23 years later. So it's a really kind of amazing and magical story.
And so many profound things happened for our community during that time, not the least of which is marriage equality.
Marriage equality is such a huge moment, and the center in New York was a big part of that in our relationship with Edie Windsor and her late wife, Thea. For me, when I think about that time in New York, it spans such an incredible journey for our community. So when I started at the center in 1998, it was the Lesbian and Gay Community Services Center, and the expansion of the name, the inclusivity of the name to the Lesbian, Gay, Bisexual, and Transgender Community Center happened in 2001, 2002. So I had been a staffer for maybe 2 or 3 years. I experienced 9/11 at the New York Center, the various economic challenges in the country in 2006 and 2008, marriage equality. The center celebrated several big anniversaries during my time, and at each of those moments, the community was really changing and growing. And so to come here to the Valley and to begin to lead in this space, I am just really proud that I have that experience, that lived experience, both personally and professionally, and then I bring that here to share while I learn about what drives our community in this space, and what are folks looking for so that they can be their very best selves and thrive.
That's so important, One of the major missions of this organization is to combat isolation and loneliness, of which I suffer. People are surprised to hear that about me because of my profile. And the mission statement of the center is to creating vibrant community by helping LGBTQ people along their way.
I really like Rob a lot, and I have had the opportunity to interact with him twice since we recorded that interview. And I have more coming up with him for the home stretch of today's show. But as I mentioned, I knew for a while this was going to be a really big week for the center, and I wanted to do what I could to add to their really big week. And I also wanted to share the experience, strength, and hope of our community with others in the community that may not know what we have here, and also with the world that in many ways looks at the Coachella Valley and places like it as a beacon of hope. We need to remember that this is a very rare place in the world when it comes to LGBTQ equality, and even in our community there's still a lot more to do, but comparatively speaking, we're so far ahead of the game, and none of us are free until all of us are free. So we just need to keep connecting and be part of a collective solution. Not that I have an opinion about it or anything. So here we go for the final part of my interview with Rob and the home stretch to this episode.
So let's walk around. So there's some fantastic group rooms.
I've been in these groups.
Sorry about that. That's the wrong one. So let me just, I need to load up the correct interview. I know exactly where it is. It's a good thing I'm paying attention during the broadcast. So let me just go to share the video. Rob interview part 2. I'm hoping, yep, that's it.
One of the major missions of this organization is to combat isolation and loneliness, of which I suffer. People are surprised to hear that about me because of my profile. And the mission statement of the center is to creating vibrant community by helping LGBTQ people along their way.
Yeah, and it's simple, yet quite wonderful. Because what that says to me is that we are here for everyone, regardless of your past experience, where you live, your gender identity, your sexual orientation, your economic status, the way in which you experience race, challenge, adversity, joy, celebration, like wherever you are in your process and whatever those pieces of your life that may be supporting you or challenging you or ways in which you need a little extra lift, we're here for that, right? And I think that one of the things that has really excited me coming here is how diverse the staff is and how intersectional, to not overuse the word, their approaches to the work, right? Really thinking in big, broad terms about how folks are showing up and what are the needs or the ways in which they want to be seen and supported, and then we're there for them.
I love that. I know that the team here spent several years creating powerful connections with the East Valley.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about what's happening in the East Valley.
So we have a space in Coachella, which is in the old Coachella City Hall, which I think is still partially operated by the city. We really began our work in the East Valley in collaboration with Alianza and as a partner organization. I think one of the things that happened before I got here in this process was really the incredible way that the center sort of moved in and entered into that space, which was thoughtful, listening in a position of really like observation and wanting to hear, like, what is the role for our organization and how can we support community in the East Valley, rather than, kind of stepping in and, we're doing it up here this way, and so we're going to bring that down here. It was really about how do we understand the ways in which we can be a good partner and a good supporter. And so we have settled ourselves in this space. We have not opened yet, which has been delayed because of the pandemic, but we will be participating in the East Valley Pride the weekend of October 14th and 15th, and then that following Monday, which is 16th or 17th, we'll open our space. And we're going to do that in a relatively low-key way, right? Because there's some concerns, and when we go down Valley, access to vaccine, comfort, understanding of the vaccine process, trust around actually receiving the vaccine looks different than it does up here. And so we want to be thoughtful about how we open that space and ensure that people feel safe and welcome, and that they can engage in a way that feels good to them.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Exciting news for all of you. There are opportunities to start gathering in person, albeit safely, as the center reopens. And you have some grand opening festivities planned, timed with the return of the center dinner.
We do. So our Center Gala, Center Stage, is October 22nd. So that is at the Palm Springs Air Museum, which is an open air space. So what's fantastic about that is that we can have our reception and initial part of the programming happening outdoors, and then we'll move into the hangars for dinner. But if the weather cooperates and it is and it feels appropriate, we can leave the hangar doors open so that it is really a full outdoor space, so that people feel comfortable in this context. And right around that time, we will have a grand reopening celebration here, inviting community to come in, see the space, christen it with us, and celebrate the joy of this incredible LGBTQ community and the space that we have here for them.
A very vibrant LGBTQ community, which you can connect to on a greater level by going to the centercv.org. It's very easy to find the newsletter link on that site, and every week, today actually I got it, it's Wednesday when this is being recorded, I look forward to that because it tells us everything that's happening at the center, and you have these interesting community polls.
We do.
And and you get to stay on top of what's happening next.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you could be here on a Monday when there's the brainstorming and the discussion of the newsletter, what are we highlighting, who will speak, who will share their work, their story of what they're focusing on, and then the poll. It's a great debate here. What will be the best poll question? And then we anxiously await the analytics to see just like how responsive people were. We're seeing record-breaking numbers, and we've been doing a lot of work to work on the way that we're sharing information and make sure that we're getting to everyone that we can, and that people are learning the things that are important to them.
So a lot of people are seeing and hearing you for the first time in this broadcast and at the event where this video is making its debut.
Yeah.
So what would you like to say to the greater community locally about your arrival here? Take it away. Let's right to them.
You know, I'm going to share tremendous gratitude. I knew that this would be a good fit for me, and deep down, I knew that it would be a warm and welcoming place for me to land, but I never imagined how incredible the community would wrap their arms around me. And I step into big shoes, and I am thrilled to be here and really excited about the work that's ahead, and working in collaboration with the staff and the board and the team here, all our volunteers, and all of you in community.
And is there anything that you would like to add that we haven't covered in this interview?
You know, I think I would just add that a sense of reassurance that we are really thinking in important and deep ways about how we reopen, how we care for community, and create the opportunities at the same time for people to connect socially and be together again. And we just can't wait for folks to be back here, and so we're counting down the days.
It's time to connect socially and be together again. Yeah. Go to the centercv.org. Rob, it's really wonderful to meet you.
Thank you for having the tour with me. It's so great to have you here.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope that you've enjoyed your extensive tour of the LGBT Community Center of the Desert, as well as an up-close and personal conversation with Rob Ruler. One of my viewers asked, is this going to be open for Palm Springs Pride? And Aaron, I'm going to answer your question in just a second, but Aaron isn't just one of my viewers. You see him in many episodes of my show when I talk about merch, because Aaron was the only person so far that actually sent me a photo of him wearing merch, and I put it in the show with his permission as promised. So Aaron, I'm putting you on screen and answering your question. So, I don't know if the center is going to be open on the weekend of Palm Springs Pride, which is the Palm Springs Pride week is November 1st through the 7th, and the parade is Sunday the 7th, and I have some information about that. I'm broadcasting the parade. Coverage begins at 9 a.m. on November 7th. The parade starts at 10. And I don't know what sort of weekend hours the center will have, but I know they'll have a big contingent in the parade. So you're going to want to look for them. And By the way, my broadcast booth will be located in front of 849 Restaurant and Lounge on North Palm Canyon. And Aaron says, thank you. Listen, Aaron, thank you. I really appreciate your support, and I'm so happy that you wear your PromoHomo.TV t-shirt. I just want to wrap it up by talking a little bit more about the center. So, their mission, creating vibrant community by helping LGBTQ people along their way. They envision a thriving lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender. They vision thriving lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender people living authentically in supportive, inclusive communities, in a supportive, inclusive community. They value respect, excellence, inclusiveness, and fun. They are based here in Palm Springs, as you now know if you've watched the episode. They serve people of all ages, totaling more than 67,000 visits annually. They ask that you may ask why they attract so many people. They do it with meaningful, relevant, and mission-focused programming that addresses their three strategic initiatives: ending isolation and loneliness. They've helped me with that. It's still a challenge for me, and I'm glad they're there. Connecting people to resources and communities, they do that so well. And enriching our individual and collective experience, we really couldn't ask for better. So check them out at thecentercv.org. I'll put that back up for you to see it. It's thecentercv.org. And you want to sign up for their newsletter. It comes out on Wednesdays. It is so informative. It's one of the few newsletters I really look forward to and enjoy opening. And they actually have shared that their opening rate, they can tell that statistically, is really good, and I'm not surprised. And I really thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. I'm Nicholas Snow.